Welcome back, you guys. So this is on possessive adjectives. These are basically how you say something is yours. Like if it's your mom versus someone else's mom, or your computer versus someone else's computer, but like something that belongs to you. You can find this also on page 169 from your textbook. And we have a little chart that we're going to be looking at here. These are called, like I mentioned, possessive adjectives. I know it sounds weird for you to say that like you own somebody, because that's obviously not something that should happen, but it's more of like you saying it's my mom, it's not your mom. Like she's connected to me, basically. So we're going to be learning it with the family because that's kind of what we're doing in this unit, but it doesn't have to be about people. It could be, like I said, my computer and not his computer, or it could be my class and not your class, or his teacher and not my teacher, right? But you have different possessive adjectives. They look like the pronouns almost, like the words for his, our, my, like we, but they're a little bit different because they're more adjectives because you describe as in it being his teacher and not my teacher, but they look similar to each other. So, two things you kind of want to remember for this. These possessive adjectives, as you can see a bunch of highlights going on in the second chart here, will be changing in spelling. We kind of know this by now. In Spanish, everything changes spelling. And we're still with the same rules. It changes in spelling. This first chart that we have here that says singular possessive adjectives is actually the exact same chart as the plural possessive adjectives, except these are plural, which means they have S's across the board. That's literally the only thing that changes. The reason that we have plural possessives and just regular singular possessives is that you might have more than one thing. So, for example, what if you had more than one sister? Maybe you have two sisters. Maybe you have four sisters, right? Depending on how big your family is. If I want to say my sister, one sister, I would say mi, hermana, M-I, right here. My sister, mi, hermana. If I had a lot of sisters, or at least two, but I had more than one, then I would say mis, M-I-S, because I have more than one sister. Mis hermanas. So just like the word sisters has an S, the word my should also have an S. And that's basically the reason why you have multiples. If I'm talking to someone and I say tu, like tu primo, your cousin. Your cousin came to visit, right? Tu primo. If only one cousin came to visit. If I had a lot of cousins that came to visit, I would say tus primos, your cousins. Like everyone came over, right? More than one person. This is also a word that looks really close to the word for you when you talk about like a person that you know pretty well, that you're close to, maybe someone around your age or your best friend or like a family member. We usually see the word tu with like a little accent over the U. And when it does have that accent, it means you. Like, hey, do you want something to eat? Do you want pizza, right? Tu quieres pizza, something like that. If it does not have the accent, like this one that we see here, it doesn't mean you, now it means your. So it is technically a different word. So don't think of it as like a typo that is supposed to have that little accent when it doesn't. It's because it means something else. So if I say your cousin, tu primo. Your cousins, tus primos. The bottom half of this chart, the one next to it as well, if you see, all have the same word. They all say su, 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 su. This word will be used a lot because it stands for so many different people. You can use su when, again, you're wanting to say your, but the formal version. So like for usted, if I'm talking to like my boss and I'm saying, hey, your mail came in, or like your appointment for whatever time is here, right? Like if a parent's going to talk to him, I would say su. If I'm talking about someone, not to them, but I'm talking about his mom and how she dropped something off for him, or her mom came to the house, or even like your dog, maybe like your dog's bed, like his bed is dirty, right? If it's someone else, you would also say su madre. If I just say su madre, you won't know if I'm saying your mom, or his mom, or her mom, or its mom, or even their mom. You have multiple ways. For their, of course, that just means multiple people. So it's like, oh, my cousin's, their new car is really cool. I could still say su because like that entire family got a new car. All of these for su are good and bad. They're good because that means that you're going to practice it the most, and it'll probably be the one that you recognize the fastest because you're going to be using it so often. The bad thing is if you only say, for example, like su mamá, you won't really know without reading the rest of your sentence if I mean his mom, or her mom, or their mom, or your mom. So you have to make sure you're careful and you read everything to know exactly who we are talking about. So just like I could say like su carro, like their car, like I mentioned, maybe they have multiples, right? So if they say sus carros, like their cars are really dirty. They have more than one car, I would have to put that S as well. Or like if his cousins came by, sus primos, same thing. If you have more than one, you put the letter S. We don't necessarily use vuestro or vuestra or vuestros or vuestras, this like V section in the middle. It's the Spain version. You are welcome to use it, of course, but because we're not in Spain, you will not exactly use it very often or come across it very often. So it's there, but we don't practice it. The one we do have to do, no matter where in the world you live, is our. And if you notice, our has 4 different spellings. It could be our with an O. It could be the our with an A, our with an OS, or an AS. Nuestro would be for like hermano, our brother. Masculine, singular, our spelling is nuestro. If it was a sister, I would say nuestra, hermana, because it's our sister. If we had a lot of brothers, I would say nuestros hermanos, OS's for both words. If we had a lot of sisters, it would be nuestras hermanas, for lots of sisters. So basically, this chart and the second chart are the exact same thing. You just have to remember, if I'm talking about more than one person, or more than one thing, if I have a lot of books, if I have a lot of shoes, if I have a lot of anything, make sure you put the letter S so that it can match whatever you're talking about, right? It has to match the word for brothers, or it has to match the word for classes, or the word for computers, or whatever you're talking about. And then the only one that has a lot of spellings, because it does, is our, because it could have an O, it could have the A, it could have the OS, or it could have the AS. So 4 different spellings. But these are the ways that you use possessives. You don't necessarily say like someone apostrophe S, like my mom's thing. You tend to use these instead. Mi, tu, su, nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, nuestras. Those are your 4 options. Su, again, it would technically be down here as well, but because you use it so much, I'm just saying that's an option, su. If it's a he, if it's a she, if it's an it, if it's a there, if it's a your, they're all for su. But that is your possessives. Hopefully that's relatively understandable, and I will see you guys in class.